The Fidelity Visa Signature Credit Card is one of the most recommended flat-rate cashback cards out there, and the short answer is yes, it is absolutely worth it. But only if you already have a Fidelity account or you are willing to open one. Because the real magic is not the 2% itself. It is what happens to that 2% after you earn it. So here is the core deal. You earn 2 points for every single dollar you spend on eligible net purchases. No caps, no categories, no rotating quarterly signups. Every swipe, every tap, every online checkout, 2% back. Plain and simple. And there is no annual fee. That alone puts it in a top tier of everyday cashback cards. But the Fidelity card has a twist that most people miss. And it is the reason this boring-looking card can quietly turn into a serious wealth-building tool over time. Let me explain what I mean. Most cashback cards give you a statement credit or a direct deposit into your checking account. You get the money, you spend it, the end. The Fidelity card lets you deposit your cash back directly into an eligible Fidelity account. And that account can be a brokerage account, a cash management account, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, even a 529 college savings plan. So instead of just getting 2% back in cash that you blow on takeout, you can have that money automatically invested in the stock market. And over decades, that changes everything. Here is the math that makes this interesting. Say you spend about $3,000 a month on the card, which is pretty typical for a household. That is $60 a month in cashback, or $720 a year. If you just take that as a statement credit, you have $720. But if you have that $720 automatically swept into a Fidelity account and invested in a low-cost index fund, earning an average of around 7% a year, after 20 years that same spending pattern grows to over $30,000. After 30 years, it is over $70,000. That is not cash back anymore. That is real wealth, built from nothing but your everyday purchases. And you did not have to change your spending habits at all. Now, the card used to have a minimum redemption threshold of $25, and you had to manually request your cash back. But Fidelity recently updated it. There is no minimum redemption amount, and you can set up an automatic sweep. Once you hit any amount of cash back, it automatically deposits into your chosen Fidelity account. That is huge. Because the old system meant you had to remember to log in and redeem. And a lot of people just let their rewards pile up for months. Now it is completely hands-off. You set it once, and every time you earn cash back, it moves into your investment account. That is the set it and forget it dream. But let me be honest about the drawbacks, because every card has them, and pretending otherwise hurts your trust. The Fidelity card has no sign-up bonus. Most competitors offer a $150 to $200 bonus after you spend a certain amount in the first few months. This card does not. There is no welcome offer at all. So, if you are the kind of person who churns cards for bonuses, this is not your card. Also, the 2% is flat. There are no bonus categories. Cards like the Capital One Saver or the Chase Freedom Flex give you 3% to 5% back on groceries, dining, or rotating categories. If you are willing to track categories, you can easily earn that. But if you want one card and you do not want to think about it, the Fidelity card wins. Another big drawback is that the rewards are not transferable to airline or hotel partners. If you are a points and miles traveler who likes to book business class flights with transferred points, this card will frustrate you. The Fidelity card gives you cash back, not flexible points. You cannot move it to Delta or Marriott. So if travel rewards are your game, look at the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Capital One Venture X instead. And here is the thing nobody tells you in the short reviews. The card used to be issued by American Express and it switched to Visa a few years ago. That matters because Visa signature cards come with a specific set of benefits that American Express does not offer. With the Fidelity Visa Signature, you get $100 credit for TSA PreCheck or global entry every 4 years. That is a nice perk if you travel even once a year. You also get no foreign transaction fees, which is rare for a no annual fee card. So, if you travel abroad, you can use this card everywhere. Visa is accepted and pays 0 extra fees. Plus, Visa Signature gives you purchase protection, extended warranty, and travel accident insurance. Not as generous as the premium travel cards, but solid for a free card. Now let me answer the questions you actually came here with, starting with the biggest one. How does the Fidelity card compare to the Robinhood Gold card, which offers 3% cash back? That is the elephant in the room. Robinhood Gold gives you 3% unlimited cash back on all purchases, no categories, no caps. That is a full 50% more than the Fidelity card. On that $3,000 monthly spend, Robinhood gives you $90 a month versus Fidelity's $60. That is $360 more per year. So why would anyone choose Fidelity? Robinhood Gold costs $5 a month or $60 a year, so the real net advantage is $300 a year, not $360. But more importantly, Robinhood's 3% is only available if you have a Robinhood Gold membership, and that membership includes other stuff like margin trading and research reports that you may not want. Also, Robinhood has had a rocky reputation with regulators and outages. Some people do not trust them. And the Robinhood card does not have the same travel protections or the TSA PreCheck Credit. So if you are already a Robinhood user and you trust the platform, the 3% is mathematically better. But if you are a Fidelity customer, the convenience of having everything in one place, plus the investment sweep, plus the Visa signature benefits, may be worth more to you than the extra 1%. What about the Citi Double Cash? That is the classic 2% card. Citi Double Cash also gives you 2% back, but it splits it into 1% when you buy and 1% when you pay. That is a minor annoyance. The Fidelity card gives you the full 2% upfront. Also, Citi Double Cash has no foreign transaction fees. Actually, it does. The standard Citi Double Cash charges 3% on foreign transactions. The Fidelity card charges 0, so if you travel, Fidelity wins. Citi Double Cash also has no TSA PreCheck Credit, so Fidelity beats it on travel perks. But Citi Double Cash does have a sign-up bonus sometimes, and it works with Citi's thank you points transfer partners if you also have a Citi Premier card. So if you are deep in the Citi ecosystem, the Double Cash may be better for you. Wells Fargo Active Cash is another 2% card with no annual fee and a $200 sign-up bonus. That bonus alone makes it better than the Fidelity card for the first year, but Wells Fargo does not let you automatically sweep your cash back into an investment account. You get a statement credit or a deposit into a Wells Fargo account. So the long-term wealth building angle is weaker. Also, Wells Fargo Active Cash has no TSA PreCheck Credit. So if you want the investment sweep, Fidelity wins. If you want a quick bonus, Wells Fargo wins. The Apple Card gives you 2% back on Apple Pay purchases and 3% on Apple and select merchants, but only 1% on the physical card. So unless you use Apple Pay everywhere, you are leaving money on the table. The Fidelity card gives you 2% regardless of how you pay. And the Apple Card does not let you invest your cash back automatically. So for simplicity in investing, Fidelity is better. Capital One Venture X is a premium travel card with a $395 annual fee, but it gives you 2x miles on everything, plus a $300 travel credit and a 10,000 mile anniversary bonus. If you travel at least once a year, the effective fee is negative, meaning you come out ahead, but it is a different category entirely. The Venture X is for travelers who want lounge access and transfer partners. The Fidelity card is for people who want simple cashback that grows. Now, can you use the Fidelity card to pay taxes or tuition and still come out ahead? If you pay your federal income taxes by credit card, there is a processing fee of around 1.85% to 1.99%. So if you use the Fidelity card, you earn 2% back, and you pay roughly 1.9% in fees. You net about 0.1% profit. That is not much, but it is positive. And if you pay state taxes or tuition, the fees vary. Some states charge a flat fee of a few dollars, which makes it a clear win. Others charge a percentage. You have to check your specific situation, but the general rule is if the processing fee is lower than 2%, you come out ahead. And since the Fidelity card has no limit on how much cash back you can earn, you can run large payments through it. How do you set up the automatic sweep? It is simple, but the steps matter. First, you need an eligible Fidelity account. That can be a taxable brokerage account, a cash management account, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, or a 529. If you do not have one, you open one for free at Fidelity. Then, after you get the credit card, you log into your Fidelity account and go to the credit card rewards page. You will see an option to set up automatic redemptions. You choose your deposit account and you choose how often you want the sweep to happen. You can set it to redeem automatically once your reward hits a certain amount, or you can set a schedule like monthly. I recommend setting it to auto-redeem as soon as you hit any amount and have it go into a taxable brokerage account invested in a total market index fund like FSKX or a target date fund. That way, your cash back is working for you immediately. Can you use the card with a Fidelity cash management account? The cash management account works like a checking account. You can have your cash back deposited there, and then you can use it for spending or transfer it to your brokerage. But if your goal is investing, skip the cash management account and go straight to the brokerage or IRA. That way you avoid the temptation to spend it. Is this card better than the Citi Double Cash or Wells Fargo Active Cash for most people? I think so, but only if you actually set up the investment sweep. If you just take the cashback as a statement credit, it is basically the same as any other 2% card. The Fidelity card's advantage is purely the investment angle. If you do not use that, you are leaving its best feature on the table. Who should get this card? If you already have a Fidelity account for your IRA or your 401k rollover, this is a no-brainer. You get 2% back on everything, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fees, and your rewards automatically grow your investments. It's the perfect companion card for a Fidelity investor. If you are not a Fidelity customer but you want a simple, no-fuss 2% card with a built-in investing habit, it is worth opening a free Fidelity account just for this card. If you are a travel rewards enthusiast who wants to fly business class on points, skip this card. If you want a sign-up bonus, get the Wells Fargo Active Cash or the Citi Double Cash first, then consider the Fidelity card later. One more thing. The card requires excellent credit, typically a score of 750 or higher. If your credit is below that, you may not qualify. And even if you do, the credit limit may be lower than you want. But if your credit is solid, the Fidelity Visa Signature Card is one of the best everyday spending cards you can own, especially if you use the automatic sweep to invest your cash back. So my bottom line is this. The Fidelity Visa Signature Card earns a 4 out of 5. It loses a point for having no sign-up bonus and no category bonuses. But for the right person, someone who already invests with Fidelity or is willing to start, it is the best flat rate cashback card available because it turns your spending into a long-term investment without any extra effort. Here is one more angle that most reviews skip entirely. The Fidelity card has no annual fee, but it also has no penalty APR and no hidden tiers. That means if you ever carry a balance, you are only paying your regular interest rate, not some punitive 29.99% rate that kicks in after one late payment. A lot of cards, especially the ones with sign-up bonuses, have a penalty APR clause. Miss a payment and your rate jumps to nearly 30%. The Fidelity card does not do that. It is a small detail, but it matters if life ever throws you a curveball. Also, the card reports to all 3 credit bureaus, which is standard, but here is what is not standard. Because Fidelity is primarily an investment company, not a bank, their underwriting tends to be a little more conservative. That means if you have a thin credit file or a recent late payment, you may get denied even if your score is decent. The approval bar is higher than for a card like the Wells Fargo Active Cash or the Citi Double Cash. So if you're on the edge, apply for one of those first. Build a year of on-time payments, then come back to Fidelity. Another thing nobody talks about is how the Fidelity card handles returns and refunds. If you buy something for $100, earn 2 points, and then return it, Fidelity deducts those 2 points from your rewards balance. That is normal. If you have already swept those rewards into your investment account, Fidelity does not claw back the cash from your brokerage. They just let your rewards balance go negative. So you can end up with a negative points balance that you have to earn your way out of before you start earning new rewards. It's not a big deal, but it means you shouldn't sweep your rewards daily if you return a lot of items. Wait until your return window closes, then sweep. Let me also address the question of whether you should use the Fidelity card for everything, including big purchases like a car or a down payment. Technically, yes you can. There is no spending cap on the 2%, but the seller may not accept credit cards, or they may charge a convenience fee. For a car dealership, the fee is often around 2% to 3%, so you break even or lose money. For a house down payment, most sellers will not accept credit cards at all. So the card is best for everyday spending, not for one-time large transactions where the fee eats your rewards. One more thing about the investment suite that is worth repeating because it is the core advantage. When you set up automatic redemptions into a Fidelity brokerage account, you can choose to have that money invested in a specific fund automatically. Fidelity lets you set up automatic investments into any mutual fund they offer. So you can have your cash back swept into the account and then automatically invested in a total stock market index fund like FSKX, all without you lifting a finger. That means your 2% cash back becomes 2% plus whatever the market returns over time. And if you hold that investment for decades, the compounding effect is enormous. That is the real reason the Fidelity card is different from every other 2% card on the market. Finally, here is a practical tip for people who want to use the card but do not want to open a Fidelity brokerage account. You can open a Fidelity cash management account, which is basically a checking account with no fees and free ATM withdrawals worldwide. You can have your cash back swept there, and then you can transfer it to your regular bank account or use the debit card. So to recap, 2% unlimited cashback, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fees, no penalty APR, automatic investment sweep into Fidelity accounts, best for existing Fidelity investors, requires excellent credit, and no sign-up bonus. If you want your spending to build long-term wealth automatically, this is your card. Like and subscribe for more smart money moves.